Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shepalle and I'm a trademark attorney, and I help entrepreneurs legally protect their brands, business, and creative content. And in this video, I'm going to give you guys the 5 steps that I took to legally protect my business, and then I'm going to tell you guys how you can use those same steps to protect your business. So let's get into it. Rewind, I almost forgot my legal disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only and should not be relied upon as legal advice. Please read the full disclaimer in the description box below. And if you need an attorney or if you need legal advice, please make sure you hire one. By watching this video, you are agreeing that you have read and understand the disclaimer. Now, let's get into it. So the first thing that I did when starting my business was form a Pllc, which is a professional limited liability company. So I wanted to form my business as a proper business entity before doing anything else. At the time I started my business, I really didn't know what direction I was going to end up in. However, I knew that I needed to protect myself, and the way that I was going to protect myself is by getting a Pllc, because as an attorney, people might try and sue you. So with that being said, that's what I did. Within your business, you can probably just be okay with forming a regular LLC unless you are in Texas and you are a lawyer. You can form an LLC, limited liability company, and that will protect your personal assets from the debts and liabilities of your company. Number 2 is that I got a DBA for my business. So my business legal name is Morehead Law Group. And I wanted to change it to the law office of Shep the lawyer, but I didn't want to go through all of the paperwork and things like that, and it was just going to be a hassle. So instead, I got a DBA, which is doing business as, for those of you who don't know, and that is for the law office of Shep the lawyer. So my legal business name is Morehead Law Group, and then my DBA is doing business as the law office of Shep the lawyer. And the law office of Shep the lawyer and just Shep the lawyer is really how I brand my business. I only put Morehead Law Group on legal documents, like my contracts and things like that. Now for you, you may not need a DBA, or you may need a DBA, but if you do use a DBA, the proper way for you to use it is pretty much to just, if you have another name that you want to market your business as, but your business legal name is another thing, then that's when you should get a DBA. But you shouldn't get a DBA to use that as a completely different business, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, okay, I have this LLC, but now I want to start. So let's say, for example, they say I have a skincare company and it's under this LLC. Now I want to start a clothing line, and I want to put, instead of creating another LLC, I just want a DBA and have that to be a different name. Well, by law, that will still be one entity, although it's 2 names, because the DBA is just operating with the LLC, and that's just not the best way to do that. So the DBA is really just if you want to be doing business as a different name besides your legal name, if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. So that's why I went ahead and got a DBA for my business. So again, my business is Morehead Law Group, doing business as the law office of Shep the lawyer. So the next thing that I did was created my privacy policy and website terms and conditions. These are very, very important to go on your website. So the privacy policy basically explains how you collect your users' data and tells them how you utilize that information that you're collecting from them. And then the website terms and conditions is basically just your rules on people using your website. So what rules you're setting for it. And then you can also put the refund policy in there as well if you want to. But that's pretty much what those 2 things are, and they are very important. The website terms and conditions is a binding contract, so you want to make sure that you have that information on there, so when people use your website, if they use it in a way that is not allowed, then you can, pull up that contract like, hey, you are breaching this contract, So it's very important to have that, and that was the next thing that I did. And every single business that has a website should have a privacy policy and a website terms and conditions. And if you are a product-based business, you better make sure you have that information, and also make sure that you have your refund policy and clear for people to see and understandable, so you can try and prevent those chargebacks from happening. That's really for any business, but I know a lot of my clients are product-based businesses, so yeah. So number 4 is I created contracts for my business. So whatever contracts I needed for my business, I made sure to create those. Lucky for me, I'm an attorney, so I created my own contracts. But basically, for me, the main contract that I needed was the attorney-client service agreement, basically just saying what services you're hiring me for, how much you have to pay me, and then all of my rules when hiring me, what services included, and things like that. If you have a service-based business, this service agreement is extremely important. So make sure that you have one and make sure it lays out everything so that if anything happened, you can pull out that contract and say, here, per our contract that you signed, you need to pay me this, or you need to do this. It's just always good to have a contract. So that's why I made sure that was one of the first things that I did to make sure I was protecting myself and my business. And it should also be one of the first things that you do. Now, I know a lot of people go online and get contracts from online, and that is fine. However, I always recommend, even if you buy a contract online, have an attorney review it to make sure that it have all of the proper clauses and terms and things like that that should be in there, because sometimes those contracts that are online, they're decent, but they're not great. And you want to make sure your contract is great, and you want to make sure that your contract is legally binding in your state. So you should have an attorney review it, even if you get it offline or whatever. So yeah, that was the next thing. So the crazy thing is that the last thing I did was trademark my brand name. However, that's not the order. This order that I'm saying it in is not what I recommend now. The only reason I trademarked my brand name last is because in the beginning, when I first started my business, I did not have this brand name as Shep the Lawyer. I was still trying to figure myself out. So when I started my business, I was Morehead Law Group because I was doing personal injury. If you want to know more about that, watch one of my other videos. I don't remember which video it is that I talked about that, but it kind of explains that. But basically, I branded Shep the Lawyer a little bit later, and that's why I did not get a trademark right in the beginning. But once I started to see that, okay, Shep the Lawyer is a thing, I like it, I'm not going to change it, people know me by this name, then I knew it was very important for me to go ahead and legally protect it. So what I recommend for you is, if you know that your name is what you want and you're not going to change that name, then of course, right away, make sure that you get that trademark. What you don't want to do is wait last minute and then you can't get the trademark, right? So you don't want to launch your business and then pay all this money and then find out that someone took that name. So now you have to start over and waste more money to like rebrand, rename, and all of those things. I got lucky, but a lot of my clients don't get lucky. There's a lot of people that come to me trying to trademark a brand name, and they've already invested a lot of money into it, and then I tell them that they have to change the name, and they're very devastated because now they have to pay me and pay to rebrand their whole business, and it's very, very stressful. So some people are lucky and they can run a business for 5-10 years and not have any issues with their name when they're ready to trademark, but then a lot of people are not lucky. So you don't want to be one of those people that are not lucky, and you don't want to take those type of chances, especially if you have big dreams of your brand being a bigger company or bigger brand. Then you should definitely protect yourself as early as possible. Although I did not do that, so it's kind of like, yeah. But anywho, so I hope those things were helpful for you guys. So those are steps that I took to protect my brand. I will say that none of these were in order. Well, except for the part about me getting a LLC, forming my business entity. That was the very first thing that I did. Everything else was kind of, I don't know the exact order, but it was kind of choppy along the way. And then my trademark did come later down the line, just because, like I said, I had to, I wasn't sure about my brand yet. So that is how I protected myself, and those are some things that you should do when protecting yourself. And especially if you have not started your business yet, you should really think about all of those things and use this as kind of a checklist to start your business and to help you get off to the right legal start, because I know that not a lot of people can afford an attorney. So just let this be kind of a guide for you. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.